Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and otherwise. My name is Lamar Haven. Welcome back to Spiral Knights. So as I mentioned last time, if you happen to catch that video, we will be looking at more advanced stuff this time. You might notice we have left Pultruce at home. She doesn't get to any more screen time because she's kind of useless. Once you reach a higher star level of equipment, it's a little easier just to keep building on the same character than to start over with a new one. A lot of energy involved with making equipment, so you might as well just keep it all on one person. This, however, is Roscoe. As I'm going to show you, he has 5-star equipment. We are using the Vodcub set, which provides status resist against fire and attack speed increase to only swords, not guns or bombs. He also is wielding the Barbarous Thorn Shield, which increases damage of swords. You might notice a theme. I'm using the War Master Rocket Hammer, which is the reward that you get from beating the expansion boss. Unwieldy as all heck, pure elemental damage, which is unusual. Usually you get half normal, half elemental. This one just goes all in. And it has a special charge attack. Then I also have the Acheron, one of my favorites. It deals half normal, half shadow, far more normal for the weapons in this game. Has a charge time reduction, a little bit. You'll get to see it in action a little later. It's kind of fun. What I'm planning on doing, we won't get to see as much of it as I would like. The area we're going to be going to focus more on elemental damage. So you'll get to see me fail hard with the hammer. You might notice unused upgrades. What this means is I have upgrades that can make it so I can buy trinket slots. Well, not buy, I already have the item. I can add trinket slots. And I can also add more weapon slots, so we'll be running around with different weapons. Oh wait, we may not actually use Acheron today. We might use something else, sorry. I'll show it off some other time. Anyway, yes, you can have more than 2 weapon slots. You can have up to 4. And you can have trinket slots. I don't use these items because I will show you them real fast. Go away swords, go away handguns, go away helmets, go away armor, go away shield. Let's get to usables. They only last for 30 days. This isn't ideal. I got them in a bundle, and I've made sure not to use them for pretty much as long as possible. I might consider using the weapon slot, maybe next time, because shadow damage isn't very useful where we're going today. So where are we going today? Well, I've decided to show you guys the well, there's not a quest now. I'm going to try and show you guys dealing with the one, the only Vanaduke. Mission Operation Crimson Hammer is the expansion mission. We won't be doing that. Maybe some other time. There we go. The King of Ashes. There's a group forming, depth 0, which means they're just starting. Let's join and see if we can get a good party going. And here we are, first level for the King of Ashes. Everybody's getting ready, you know, swinging their swords, warming up. Yeah, this place is not fun. First you have the wheels that come down, then you have the fire, then you have the undead. What my usual strategy is, I let other folks go up so they can handle the wheel creating things, and I stay down here and kill the undead. Not well, apparently. But you see, those wheels tend to drag the undead all the way down to the bottom. So I murder them, and they stop the wheels. See, they're becoming far less frequent. I'll show you what things that make the wheels in a bit, because there's going to be lots more of them. Pretty much every area, this is going to be one of the hardest areas in the game, sans Shadow Key areas. Great. The totems that you see, everywhere. Those revive undead as long as if they die within the circle. So you have to push them out. The healing consumables, hugely useful. You need to keep like 3 of them by the time you get to Vanaduke. If you're not an expert at Vanaduke, you're going to use all of them. Common strategy, put the totems in front of the wheel things. Wheel things break before they can get out. Place button, place thing on button. Done. Someone left this one. There we go. That went very smooth. This team is very well coordinated. Alright, let's see if the charge attack can be very useful here. Probably not, but I want to show it off. See? 2 big explosions. It's unwieldy, pushes you way forward, and actually doesn't deal that much damage. The common strategy to use when wielding this hammer is swing once, stop. Swing once, stop. It's actually technically faster attack speed than the free hit combo, which I'll show you here real fast. See, the second hit actually is a dash forward that doesn't always deal damage. It's only useful if you've got an enemy corner trapped, and even then, it's risky to corner trap enemies, as you've probably seen me do. When you corner trap them, you have a very good chance of just getting murdered. Oh dear. Moving on, more of these areas. Fire maze plus wheels plus undead. That's sort of the theme of this first floor. Ow. My shield wasn't repaired by the time I did that. You're gonna see me die a lot. I'm not very good at this section. It's still really hard, no matter how maxed out your gear is. Which mine really isn't. To really max out gear, you kind of need to go for those variants that I told you about last time. And he won't revive because he's already been revived. Oil on the ground. If that catches fire, it'll stick around for a while. Oh, you can be revived. Never mind. And here's the fun. Every time you see a party button and it's all alone like that, yeah, enemy gauntlet. This is the sword that I got to replace Acheron. It is actually a reward from completing all the quests in the game, all the main quests. So it's not very good. It's actually pure normal damage. I know I said you probably shouldn't get pure normal damage, but the thing is, shadow damage, almost everything in here is resistant to shadow damage except for the occasional slime. This sword is actually more useful on the whole. Because anytime you find a slime, it's only 1 or 2, and the rest of the enemies are completely different. Oh, these guys. These are big beasties. Some of the toughest enemies in the game. You might, notice from that arc in front of them, their shield does block attacks. You have to attack them from behind. That's one of the reasons why Operation Crimson Hammer, the expansion mission, is so difficult. It has a ton of smaller enemies with shields. Some of them have them in front, some of them have them in back. And they are everywhere. It is a humongous headache fighting them. This is the end of the first floor. There's a lot of floors after this. This is a pretty full-bodied mission. Originally, you didn't get to skip this mission. You didn't get to say, I just want to fight the King of Ashes. Let's skip straight to his set of dungeons. Because unlike the others, these are not randomized. These are all set in stone missions. You know exactly what you're getting into. But because of the mission system, as it exists now, you get to choose to fight this guy because you have to beat him to beat all the quests. Anyway, off we go to the next one. Ah, this floor is quite the gauntlet. Let's talk to this guy. You're not one lost. Please help me. Blah blah blah, I'm a sprite. My friends have been kidnapped. Save my friends. Every sprite you try to save, it has a different mini gauntlet that you have to fight. And then you have to drag them back over here. They've been corrupted by Vanaduke's power. So off we go. I got asked why I don't get into a guild. What I typed there is pretty much the reason. I don't play this game very often. I'm really casual with it. I'll play for maybe a week or two or 3 at a time, and then I'll stop for as much as a month. I actually used to do the same thing with MOBA games like League of Legends and Dota. Now it's gotten to the point where, ow, holy, I didn't know they could do that. Wow, the zombie could just jump on you. Trying to recruit me into a guild. Buddy, wait until after you've seen my performance on Vanaduke. You won't want me in your guild anymore. Okay, anyway, as far as MOBAs are concerned, I've stopped playing them. I love the gameplay. Don't get me wrong, the gameplay is fun as heck. I'm just not competitive enough. And I really dislike hugely competitive people. So that means I tend not to get along with most MOBA players. As you can see, we're doing this with 2 people, as opposed to all 4 people being here. That's because it takes a while. You don't want everybody being at the same place, because then you'll just be here forever. Oh, those 2-way barriers? Only we can pass those barriers. Enemies cannot. That's why they exist. I'm a little disappointed. I was hoping there'd be more music at this point. I kind of wanted to talk about the absolutely amazing music, as you've probably heard every once in a while. My favorite is probably the boss theme, but you're going to get your fill of the boss themes once we get to Vanaduke. And I'm alone in here! No! Stuck! Help! Ah! Why? Yeah, sorry. Let's get back to murdering, please. See, even attacks don't actually pierce these bugs. See, this actually is a problem. Let's see if I can't brute force a solution. This is gonna suck. Yeah, like that. Yeah, see, that's not exactly encouraging, buddy. I'm self-depreciating enough. I don't need your help. A res would be nice, too. Alright, well, let's go see what other people are doing, because we're missing that. This is a turret gauntlet. You gotta move as fast as you can while that turret is shooting at... Why is the turret not shooting at him? That turret actually is supposed to shoot, like, homing missiles, and it's not. Go fig. He's clearing out that area. And the thing is, when you start freeing the sprites, a lot of the zombies start spawning in the middle, and because people don't clear them out between waves usually, you can get a humongous army of zombies in the middle, if you're not careful. Is he... Yeah, he's still doing this thing. So go fig. More zombie murdering. While I'm dead, I should talk about the, art direction this game has taken. You might notice it's a very unique art style, sort of chibi-ish, and adorable, but you'll see it's not completely adorable when we get to Vanaduke. The art director is actually a webcomic artist by the name of Ian McConville. He has done comics like Mac Hall, and his current one, 3-Panel Soul, is highly recommended. Very nice art style that he's willing to play with all the time. And he'll even mention some of the interesting things that he's done associated with this game. And honestly, just check the guy out. Amazing, amazing stuff. I really love it. He's a old hat in the webcomic biz, let's say. He's been around for a very long time. I might have also have completely, and this is a huge oversight on my part, am I really not going to get res? This guy's weird. I've completely missed the fact that I've ignored this game's storyline. It does have one, I promise. You go through it in the missions. The short version of it is Spiral Knights are not natives to this area. It's called the Clockwork. We've crash landed and we can't get out. We're trying to get to the power in the center of the clockwork, hoping that it can somehow help us get a ship to leave. Not going as planned so far. And if you're wondering what the end of the storyline is, we don't know. We get to Vanaduke and we open it up, and then it kind of just ends. So we don't know exactly what's going to happen next. This is an ongoing, constantly updated game, but they're more concerned about things like gameplay improvements and more specifically UI improvements at this point. Yes, I'm using the wrong weapon here, aren't I? There we go. Remedy capsules, also hugely useful. It's common practice to put the Sprite in front of the door before you bring them all in, because that way you can be sure you've got them all. Why is there so little sound, and why is the frame rate so bad? Are there tons of zombies? There are tons of zombies! You saw that guy's shock charge attack? Yeah, the Archeron does pretty much the exact same thing but Shadow. So, spoiler alert, that's what it looks like. Yeah, zombies everywhere! This one is... this is kind of a war of attrition on this end. Charge in. Not used to that, having an attack like that, especially one that actually damages your shield. If you're wondering why I celebrated so much about using the little hop move in the last video, that's because I've used it maybe a grand total of 3 times at that point. It's a move that was added fairly recently, and I wasn't playing during the update, so it was completely new content to me at the time. A lot of people complain about how you tend to push enemies around a lot with the hammer, because bomb users, you know, they tend to like the enemies where they're standing. Oh, and I realized also in the last video I was complaining about status effect and how I wasn't sure how they affected enemies, and sure enough, the shock status effect killed an enemy on screen while I was complaining. So, you know. Yay. Ironhead is dead? There we go. Let me revive you, bud. Let's save more sprites. If you're asking why we get the extra ones, it's pretty much for the same reason I mentioned before. You kind of want to just get as much heat as possible, and this place is great for heat, because it's actually optional. You don't need all the sprites, you only need like 6. But everybody always gets them all anyway, just because. If you're wondering, if you're a little upset that I didn't get to show the other areas, well, I'm sorry, maybe I'll do another video where I do another run of the place, another Vanaduke run. I kind of doubt it. You only need to really see it once, unless you're doing like a special strategy for farming. Oh, fire goes away when you throw water at it. That's an interesting mechanic that gets used a lot in Vanaduke's area. You might notice a big theme with fire around here. The fire and water thing starts to become more and more prevalent later in the dungeon crawl as we get to other floors. Oh, Ironhead City lag. Guild invitation. Sorry, not accepting guild invites at the moment. Yeah, it's down there in the chat log, by the way. The guild invitation from Gato Samuel. Apparently he's starting to get a guild together, and they're apparently working out pretty nicely for him, but like I keep saying, I'm not big on guilds in this game. If I join a guild, I need to be active enough to actually do things. Gato, just come on, bud. No! Fun. People like to glitch out with the new jumping thing. So you'll see he gets left behind, but technically doesn't. Huh? That's no good. When items get dropped on the floor like that, that means they left, and they're leaving all their consumables behind. I think he got DC'd. That's no good. I don't know how many people tend to join mid-run when it comes to Vanaduke. I don't think it's common. Granted, Vanaduke runs are usually done for one reason, to get the tokens off Vanaduke. But the heat and everything else is a very nice bonus. If you're at completely max heat for 5-star equipment, then chances are you don't need Vanaduke anymore. At least not normal Vanaduke. There's a Shadowkey version, who's terrifying from what I've heard. Yeah, Shadowkey Vanaduke gives you nightmares, even if you've never seen him before. I might give a look to a couple of videos looking at Shadowkey runs of other folks and recommend them in my next video, because I haven't actually looked up videos myself. I've only looked up strategies and stuff on Wiki. Oh dear. We both had the same idea. You might notice that people prepare their attacks pretty well ahead of time. That's because we know exactly where they're going to spawn. Yeah, you might notice elemental damage is pretty dang huge in this area with all the undead. And that would be my cat jumping on my lap. Cat, go away. Die, zombies, die, zombies. Yeah, 12 and 15 are the highest Phytopods you can get. And those are the only ones you get in this area. My cat very much wants attention right now. He's not getting it. If you ask why I haven't closed the door to my room so my cat doesn't get in, that's because the mic would pick up him scratching the door. It's a hollow door, so when he scratches it, it sounds like he's banging a drum. And there's the big guy. I think they're called Trojans, like what he said. Fun thing about Trojans is when they die, they turn to stone. You have to actually break them out to get their stuff. And here it is, a split path. You can only choose one path. There used to be a glitch in the game that let you go both, and people would, because people are crazy. But I think it... Ow! Stop biting me, cat. It's actually way more common to go left. And lots of dead air. I should probably talk. Let's see. Music, like I said before, you'll be hearing the boss theme a lot later because it plays during the entire Vanaduke fight, and it is a long fight. Which we will be 3-manning, which I don't like. I don't guarantee this will be a successful run, by the way. Not all of them are. Usually, if a run is going badly enough, that it gets to the point where you use all your normal mixed energy, you consider it a failure. My cat is all up in my face. Best cat ever. Ow. Let myself stand in fire. My WoW guild would absolutely laugh hysterically if they ever saw this. The general exception, the accepted rule, I should say, when it comes to crystals is first come, first serve. in this game. I usually say if I already have a crystal, I'll let everybody else make sure they grab one first before trying to upgrade. This room really sucks. I die a lot here, especially since I have half a heart left. Every time you hit a button, you're going to spawn a ton more zombies, and then the room itself is just not fun. One of the things that always bugged me about the game, which makes perfect sense balance-wise, it just doesn't feel good, is that none of the traps hurt enemies. So they could stand and fire all they want. But I mean, it's not like they have the AoE and movement, the AI, I should say, and movement capabilities of a normal player, so it makes sense they wouldn't, be able to avoid traps. Yeah, you might notice I'm kind of letting them do most of the work. When you have as low health as mine, you gotta hang back and pick your battles. The armor set I'm wearing, the Bog Cup set, is actually really common to see in Vanaduke runs because the fire resist. As you can see, fire is a big theme. And due to the fact that it's got fire resist and attack speed increase for swords, it's used a lot. However, the most ideal weapon is actually one of the guns the other guy keeps using. The needle gun that seems to shoot rapid fire when you charge it. That deals piercing damage, which, although Vanaduke isn't weak to it, I think, he's the least resistant to piercing. So you tend to see that a lot. The most common weapon sets I see are the freeze bomb, and that needle gun. The freeze bomb obviously freezes enemies and it roots them in place when you set it off and they get hit by the status effect. This is another of the more brutal rooms in the game because it's a fairly long gauntlet that's cut in half. So, because you have to be very careful not to step on the spike areas. And I'm on fire! If you're on fire, I don't know if blocking reduces the damage. I know it hurts your shield when you block and you take fire damage. I don't know if it reduces the damage. Learning how to use that jump is going to be a priority number one, to be honest. I really need to figure out how to use those abilities right to be able to get better at this game. You might notice that dash in the second hit of my attack. If I manage to corner trap an enemy, it actually hits twice. That's what I was mentioning earlier about keeping an enemy corner trapped. It's useful with his hammer, but risky, because enemies can still attack. He summoned... Yeah. When you have there's a consumable item that's actually a Clockwork Knight. You summon him and the AI companion helps fight for a while. I usually save those for later. I don't remember how useful they are for Vanaduke. I'd imagine not very. They take damage. They'll get crushed. Moving on. I think this might be the second to last floor, and then Vanaduke's after it. Iron. I'm sorry, Arian. I can't wait for Bogcub Cap to be maxed. And Barber's Thorn Shield, of course. This place is not fun. The reason why they're big on teaching you how to use these water globules is they're used during the Venduke fight. That's actually the role I'm going to take for myself to do as much of. Because, like I said, I'm not very good at Venduke, and I don't have the ideal weapon set for him. You're saying, well, why don't you just build it? Like I said before, lots of energy required. That didn't help at all, bud. You can't put out that fire. We didn't start the fire. Apparently Venduke did. He's kind of an ass that way. So there's about 4 bosses I can think of in this game. One is fairly new. Okay guys, that's enough. One of them is like, you might have saw the little beasties in one of my earlier videos. No, okay, that was a failed recording. Never mind. They're little beasties that sort of look like foxwolves. There's a big version of that you can fight. And there's also a king slime. It's just a giant slime that happens to have a crown on its head. It's actually a pretty rough fight. It's fun to do. I might show that off in a different video. Oh god. It's actually really easy too. You might think, oh, well, if the older bosses are on like different tiers, which they are, I'm putting words in your mouth before I'm giving you information, then wouldn't it be easy to just go back with a 5-star piece of equipment and own the place? Doesn't work like that. If you're in a lower tier, your gear actually gets scaled down. Now, you still have the benefit of the fact that a higher star gear tends to have better charge attacks, better variants attached to them, that kind of thing. So you still are stronger with 5-star gear going into that than you would be with the equivalent star gear you're supposed to have at a lower tier. It's just, your damage isn't going to be as high, and your health isn't going to be as high. Everything else stays the same. So, yes, it's still useful. But yeah, I might do a run of the boss slime, king slime, at some point to show off Acheron, because slimes are weak to shadow. Oh god, slime everywhere. Yeah, the shock vials are going to be useless because we have a guy doing shock damage, so I might as well burn him. Yeah, when those slimes die, they blow up, and then they leave globules that blow up also. Not my favorite enemies. One of the reasons why I love the hammer is that pushing effect that I was complaining about earlier. Great for these things. They start sitting in their little circle of revive that revives them when they die, and you push them out. Standard operating procedure when these things spawn is just stack them all in the same place. Like that. They used to be more glitchy and would actually stack in literally the same place. You could stack like 3 directly on top of each other, so the circles were even smaller. But to be honest, as you might see by the red circles, they're not adding much distance, just keeping them right next to each other. Oh dear, Trojans! Whoa! He just wiped out a Trojan in one hit. No wonder he was mad at me earlier for messing up his aim. Ah, stupid puppies. That's actually the name of some of the turrets. They're something puppies. That was actually called a Red Rover. Haha, jokes, puns. And off we go. I think that's... Nope, we have more. Okay, folks. Little issue. Party I was in fell apart right before we got to Vanaduke. I apologize profusely. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and make this a video of the steps to get to Vanaduke. And next time, we're going to just do the fight itself. And that'll be its own separate video. It'll be hopefully with a different group, and hopefully I won't fail as hard. I apologize profusely for this. It was mostly due to my own noobishness as well as Random Disconnect. Not the greatest show in the world. So, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.